Hello, my name is Marcella, and today I'll be discussing the effect of New World screwworm on producers and livestock. So, what exactly is New World screwworm? So, New World screwworm begins with an infected female fly laying her eggs on an open part of the body. This can include places such as the mouth, ears, nose, or open wounds on the body. And New World screwworm will then hatch these eggs, and these eggs will then hatch into parasitic larvae that appear like maggots but are just much more deadly. And then these maggot-like creatures will then burrow deep into the skin in a screw-like fashion, and that's where it really gets its name of screwworm. And so, how does New World screwworm spread? It spreads through those female flies that we previously spoke about. As they continue to lay their eggs, more and more cattle become infected. And as more cattle become infected, more wounds will appear on the sidewall body of the livestock. And then these female flies are really attracted to the scent of these wounds and will continue to lay their eggs on livestock, and then those eggs and larvae will then hatch and fall onto the ground and burrow deep until they become adults. And then once they become adults, they kind of come out of the ground. And as livestock is kind of rooting or eating on the ground, that adult larva really gets the chance to go into the mouth or into the nose, and it continues that spread without even having to have a female fly laying eggs on the body, just through that adult larva coming up and being able to eat those adult larvae. And I've also drawn a diagram here, or a map per se, of North America and where New World screwworm has been kind of seen and reported. But I'm currently in Mexico and have had the opportunity to work with cattle that is infected with screwworm, and I can say that this diagram or map is not accurate, but I drew it based on what has been reported, as I am currently in a state that currently has no reported of screwworm, but I am working with over 100 heads of cattle that have been affected, and I think that a lot of reporting has just not been done. So there is even more chance of New World screwworm spreading without you even knowing. And so, how do you know if your herd is affected? So you can begin by seeing or feeling maggots within the skin or on the exterior of the skin. This will likely come with large skin wounds or sores around the body that worsen throughout a couple days. And so this can really be seen in that lower left picture of this calf, where it kind of has these open wounds and sores around the body. And so it will likely look like that around the body as they continue to worsen. And then you will be able to see kind of like maggots kind of burrow deep with like a foul smell coming to it because it is rotting flesh on the body. Another indicator would be seeing these really large holes on the body that these screwworms like to burrow themselves into, and that would be pictured in that top right photo. And so, as a producer, why does it matter to you? New World screwworm can severely affect the productivity of livestock. This includes weight gain, milk production, and ability to produce more offspring. So, for example, in the dairy industry, milk production will be decreased severely, and the milk that is produced will likely be unusable, as wounds can commonly get infected, leading to an antibiotic usage. And then antibiotic usage leads to that washout period before you can then harvest those animals or sell the milk that is being born off those animals. And then, so overall, it just decreases production of your livestock. And then, in addition, you may lose livestock, once again, decreasing the productivity of your entire production. And so, although we are decreasing productivity as a whole, we are increasing in production cost, because instead of only paying for preventative measures of New World screwworm, we're also paying for treatment cost as well. And so treatment costs will not only include Dectomatch or ivermectin, which, depending on the amount of cattle and the weight of said cattle, can lead to becoming really expensive, as Dectomatch, which is one of the leading treatment plans for New World screwworm, is 1 milliliter per 100 pounds of cattle, and for a 500 milliliter bottle at, let's say, on average about 800 pounds per cattle, from that 500 milliliter bottle, you're only using it on about 62 heads of cattle. And so for these large scale productions, we will be using a lot of Dectomatch to treat these cattle as we have to consistently treat them. And so not only using that Dectomatch, but we are also having to lead to possible antibiotic usage from these wounds that these screwworms are leaving, and then also bandaging all the wounds on the livestock's body. And as of recently, to be prescribed antibiotics for livestock, you have to have a lasting patient veterinary relationship. And so, to get those antibiotics that you need in the right treatment, you're having to bring out a veterinarian consistently to continue to prescribe these antibiotics, which is another expensive cost. And so, how can you treat New World screwworm? Prevention should honestly be the main concern, as preventative measures could prevent your livestock from becoming affected from New World screwworm at all. But prevention and treatment does include Dectomatch, as it is used to kill and prevent screwworms in cattle, both dairy and beef, along with swine, for up to 21 days. And then you can also use ivermectin, but it only kills the larva and not the eggs or the adults. And it only paralyzes the larva in the wounds, doesn't kill them all the way. But additionally, you will have to treat for the open wounds on the body if your livestock does become infected, which can likely lead to an antibiotic usage, leading to a additional washout period if you're looking to harvest that livestock as well. So, what should you do right now? As screwworm moves its way into the US, it is becoming critical that producers become much more vigilant and check their livestock much more frequently as to prevent the spread. Prevention is what producers must move towards, as it will become much cheaper to apply prevention to a herd instead of treatment. And then early detection is the next best thing you can do. If you're able to detect it soon enough in livestock, you have a much greater chance of saving your livestock and money.